So I know we just talked about something that lasted a very long time. Now let's talk about something that actually ended rather shortly. We're talking about the Ghost in the Shell, the online game. So
Oh yeah.
yeah. So it's and it's funny because he says, "Oh yeah," as if like he's like, "Yeah, I remember that." I can assure you, I did not know about it. Neither did he until we were doing research for the show. And I think it's really funny to say that though because it. Oh, so you've heard about this
I
before?
heard about it. Yes,
Oh, I'm
I saw a
sorry.
trailer for it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Funny. I
yeah.
think I saw it on Crunchyroll.
That actual. I
Makes
mean,
sense.
it makes
Sort of.
listen. If you're gonna no, it makes sense because like well, because it's a video game, but it's still based on the anime. So if you're gonna
Right.
wanna, I mean, obviously it came out recently to tie into the movie that did
Yeah.
not do well, and it's kind of funny because I think that Ghost in the Shell has done well in America. I don't think it hasn't done well, but when you tie an online game, especially it's very hard to keep an online game going, especially when it comes to the money for the servers.
Yeah.
So to try and yeah, so to try and release it right next to the like they must have people must have really thought, oh, the Ghost in the Shell movie, it's gonna be amazing, and everything's gonna do well with it. And granted, I'm sure there's a dedicated community for this game, but clearly
Mhm.
not enough to warrant them keeping
So
the servers open, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I don't really enjoy playing online stuff like this. I mean, look, it may have been free, so like with like in-game purchases. To be fair, I don't think it shows here in the article that I'm reading that it was a pay, like a pay to play kind of game. But even then, regardless, it's just like I just feel really weird devoting my time into either creating a character or taking over the role of a character in an online game like this, just to have its server shut down. Like less than a year. I mean, it's shutting
right.
down in November, and this thing was delayed, right? Which is really funny because it's like, what? There's problems with this? Man, you would think after that wonderful Ghost in the Shell um, opening that everything would just fall into place naturally. But yeah, so it says that it was delayed, so it actually just came out in 2016. It was supposed to come out in 2015, but it just
Right.
came out like
Yeah.
maybe like 6 months or so ago.
Yeah.
So that's rough,
And
man.
there's
Like yeah,
no comment for an American release even. So I mean, it's already going down in Japan. So yeah.
yeah, and it was supposed to be an American release, I
Right.
believe. So although yeah, no, it's interesting because you saw the trailer on Crunchyroll, so you would assume that there would have been an American release, but I guess they were teasing one, and then they saw the Japanese numbers, which is interesting because I would argue that isn't the okay. It makes sense that you're not going to spend money on something abroad when it's not doing well in your home territory, but I would argue that with certain anime, um, just because it's not doing as well in Japan as it used to, doesn't mean that the nostalgia factor still isn't big here. Now, again, with the movie not doing well, all jokes aside, I understand why you wouldn't want to bring it here, right? But
Right.
but like imagine if they did this for Cowboy Bebop, right? And they were like, oh, it's not doing well in Japan. I guess no one wants this MMO space, open world shooter, right, kind of thing in
Right.
America. It's like, no. People would love it, especially for Cowboy Bebop. People would
Yeah.
think that would be really cool, going to different planets. Imagine like a No Man's Sky kind of thing, but a bit like scaled back and also actually released. A bit more. Oh damn. A
Oh.
bit more. No, but like really though, like imagine like a No Man's Sky kind of thing, but for Cowboy Bebop, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if it didn't do well in Japan, and they were like, "Well, I guess no one likes Cowboy Bebop." Like, no, in America, people would go nuts. People go nuts for Cowboy Bebop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's the way you have to look at it, and I think in some cases, look, it makes sense on the surface, but I feel like in Japan, there's so much anime there that it would make sense why they would be like, oh, Ghost in the Shell, I remember that. I mean, there's been some recent Ghost in the Shell adaptations, but I don't think it's that popular anymore, I would argue, compared to what it used to be. I mean, maybe that's just me. Because it's funny. I'm not coming at this from a Ghost in the Shell fan, as a Ghost in the Shell fan. I'm coming at this from me seeing it on Toonami late night. So knowing that,
Yeah.
of course, people at Toonami like it, and of course, people watch it on Toonami in America. But in Japan, there's newer adaptations, but I don't hear about them just taking Japan by storm. And everyone go, oh my God, Ghost in the Shell is amazing.
Right.
We just had a new one, I think maybe last year or 2 years ago, and nothing since the movie. So, other than this game. But either way, it's sad that the game didn't work that it's not going through because I'm sure people really do like it. And even if there's only 5 people on it, that's still 5 dedicated fans. That,
Yeah.
it sucks that when you put your time and effort into something like this, that it
Yeah.
just gets thrown
I
away.
mean, I was kind of sad because I saw the concept of the game itself, and it
Mm.
was, I've seen bits and pieces of Ghost in the Shell, but like even as not a hardcore fan of the series, I was interested in the concept of this game, and
Mm.
I'm not really one for online multiplayer or anything like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like I probably would have given it a shot.
If it was free, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And it sucks because before we move on, I've experienced something like this with WWE games because recent WWE games, they have such dedicated servers, but only for a certain amount of time, and it's understandable. But like basically, what happened, Tristan, is a while ago, back when they started like making these games on the PS3, PS4, they started using this idea of like a community server, so that instead of you having to make your own created characters and like type them all in yourself, like people would post them online with all these different like formulas how to make certain characters and stuff. So
right.
what people would do is because there were these online servers, you could actually upload your created characters. So you
Yeah,
could create characters that would never be in the game. Either from different wrestling promotions or obviously one that you would like. I think I showed you once Luke Skywalker.
yeah,
Yeah, so you could make like a Skywalker, Darth Vader, different video game characters. Like I had a Zangief in
right.
I think WWE 13. So and he looked good. He looked really freaking good. But the problem is that with these servers, obviously you can't keep them online forever. So what they would do is they would keep the server online for the next WWE game. So WWE 18 is coming out, right? So that means that as 18 is coming out, they're going to close the servers for 16 and then keep 17 open until 19 comes out.
Right.
Which it makes sense, but it does suck
Yeah.
because these communities, people have to then re-upload their characters, remake these characters because your game has essentially become obsolete. You can't play online anymore, even with other people. So I couldn't even play WWE 2K15 online with you if you had the game, just you and I, because the
Right.
servers are dead. They don't
Yeah.
exist anymore. So after a while, that's kind of why I stopped buying WWE 2K games or just WWE games in general because it felt like I was in 2 years, which to some people is like that's a long time, but for me, especially when I get the game and everything, it might be 6 months later when it's a little bit cheaper. It feels
Right.
like I just have a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
Like I was selling 2K15 on our eBay, and actually it sold somehow. And and no, but it sold somehow because I sold it on PS4. But again, to me, it's a piece of plastic, right? It's just a dead piece of plastic. Because what can you do with it? You can't even download new characters.
Right.
On the PC version, you can mod it to hell no matter what year it is. And thankfully, they've been releasing them on the PC for the last few years. But if it's on a console, the servers are dead. So even in something that isn't an online MMO, servers can still shut down on you, and you get sad.